If you're one of those people who thinks your backyard just goes quiet and kind of lifeless in the winter, I want you to stick around. We are about to uncover some of the year's most fascinating hidden dramas happening right outside your window. Let's get into it.
So, does this look familiar to you? A quiet, snowy day, you look out the window, and the bird feeder is totally empty. It's such a common sight, and it leads to this really common assumption. All the birds have just packed up and flown south. But what if I told you that's not even close to the whole story?
Right, we're here to bust what I'm calling the empty feeder myth. Seriously, the idea that bird activity just grinds to a halt when the temperature drops, well, it's one of the biggest misconceptions about the incredible natural world that's literally right outside your door. Because here's the real secret. Winter isn't a time of absence. For a birdwatcher, it's a time of amazing opportunity. I mean, think about it. With the leaves gone and that clean backdrop of snow, the birds that do stick around are actually way easier to spot. And they're putting on a show you just can't see any other time of year.
But that does bring up a really good question, right? How in the world does a tiny, warm-blooded creature survive a freezing night? The answer isn't magic, it's actually a masterclass in biology. These birds aren't just surviving the winter, they are absolutely built for it.
Let's break down their winter survival kit. First off, they fluff up their feathers, which creates all these tiny pockets of air that act just like your favorite down jacket. Super clever. Next, they have this special circulatory system in their legs that keeps their feet from freezing on icy branches. And finally, with all the migratory birds gone, there's actually less competition for food. So in some ways, winter really works in their favor.
Okay, so now that we know why they stick around, let's make the cast of characters. Think of these next few slides as your own personal field guide to the super resilient birds you can find during the absolute coldest months of the year. We've picked out 10 of the most common and honestly most captivating birds you are likely to see this winter. Ready? Let's see who's on the list. All right, we have to start with the absolute icon of winter birding, the northern cardinal. That flash of brilliant red against white snow is it's unmistakable. They stay all year long, sure, but it's in the winter that their color really truly pops. Okay, from the big and bold to the small and brilliant, the black-capped chickadee. Now, don't let its tiny size fool you. This bird is a memory champion. It literally spends the autumn hiding thousands of individual seeds and can remember where to find them even when they're buried under a blanket of snow. Incredible. Oh, you'll definitely hear the bold and intelligent blue jay. They're famous for burying acorns to eat later, but here's the amazing part. They bury way more than they ever recover. This makes them accidental gardeners who are actually responsible for planting entire oak forests. How cool is that? Next up, meet the dark-eyed junco. For a lot of people, the arrival of these little gray birds hopping on the ground is the true first sign of winter. They're affectionately called snowbirds because, well, they seem to show up right as the first snowflakes begin to fall. Okay, here's a pro tip for you. At your feeder, you're probably going to see both the downy and the hairy woodpecker, and they look almost identical. It's tricky, but the key difference, as the slide shows so well, is the beak. The downy has a short, kind of stubby bill, while the hairy's bill is much longer, almost the length of its head. Now you know. Now, you got to keep an eye out for the acrobatic white-breasted nuthatch. This is the only bird you'll consistently see just defying gravity, climbing down tree trunks head first. This whole upside-down approach gives it a unique perspective, letting it spot insects hidden in the bark that other birds climbing up would totally miss. So this next one might actually surprise you. The American goldfinch, famous for its vibrant yellow summer feathers, undergoes this dramatic costume change for winter. It molts into these muted olive brown feathers. It makes it much harder to spot, but trust me, it's still out there. Ah, the gentle mourning dove. You'll notice in winter, they look extra plump and round. And no, it's not holiday weight. They're just fluffing up their feathers to the absolute max, creating a personal thermal layer to stay warm. It's actually pretty adorable. And finally, number 10, the ever-present and super adaptable house sparrow. These are really social birds, and you'll almost always see them in a group. And it's not just for company. Huddling together is another one of those clever strategies for conserving precious body heat on the absolute coldest days. Seeing all this incredible life is one thing, but you don't have to just be an observer. You can actually play a vital role in their survival story. So let's look at how you can transform your own yard into a legit winter haven for these amazing birds.
And it's incredibly simple, really. First, offer high-energy foods like sunflower seeds and suet. They're packed with the fat birds need to generate heat. Second, provide a source of fresh, unfrozen water, which, believe it or not, can be even harder for them to find than food. A heated bird bath is a total game changer. And third, create some shelter. Even a simple evergreen bush can provide that critical protection from harsh winds. So let's bring this all together. We've busted the myth, we've met the cast, and we've learned how we can help. What we've really discovered is winter's hidden life, a world that is so far from empty and is just pulsing with resilience, waiting for us to notice. So here it is, the ultimate takeaway. I want you to forget the idea of winter as a dormant, empty season. Once you really know what to look for, you'll realize it might just be the best birdwatching season of the entire year. I just want to leave you with this thought. The quiet of winter isn't emptiness at all. It's just a different kind of richness, a different kind of show. You just have to know where to look. So the next time you look out at the snow, don't just see a blank slate. See a stage, and then ask yourself this question: what new life will you discover in your backyard this winter? Thanks for joining me.